So listed here are some of the major events of infectious disease in the 20th century. The world wars and the influenza pandemic, discovery of penicillin by Fleming, the health transition or the epidemiological transition, also smallpox eradication, and simultaneously, since the discovery of penicillin, the emergence of antibiotic resistance has been of global concern, and of course the newly emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. The Spanish flu was yet another devastating pandemic in history. The flu was described as the greatest medical holocaust in human history. In 1918 to 1919, only within the 1 year of this pandemic, it was believed that the flu killed more than the Black Death in the 14th century. That was being transmitted for 5 years. So it was estimated that the flu infected more than 600 million people and caused 50 to 100 million deaths worldwide. The flu itself killed more than the World War. And official records in Japan shows that the death rate, death toll of due to Spanish flu was approximately 250,000 people who have died due to the disease. Also, the discovery of antibiotics is worth mentioning as a historical milestone in infectious disease epidemiology. And penicillin was discovered by Hemmings in 1928. Before its introduction, there was no effective treatment to treat infections. And as you can see here, the threat of dying due to an infection was so real and severe during that time. So the photo shows the little girl who was suffering from infections. This was before the penicillin treatment. And a few days later, she seems to have recovered very rapidly, and not soon after the treatment of penicillin, she was completely healed. And this figure shows the crude death rate for infectious disease per 100,000 population in the US in 1900 to 2000. Tremendous public health achievements were made during the last century, and particularly in the field of infectious disease, as shown in the figure. As you may be able to notice here, that the mortality statistics fluctuated considerably during the first half of the century, maybe due to a series outbreak of sporadic outbreak of infections. And the outstanding peak, as we have previously discussed, is due to the influenza pandemic in 1918 to 1919. Other science-based medical interventions, such as the antibiotics like penicillin and vaccine, including childhood immunization, have played a significant role in this decline in infectious disease. So also maybe the overall economic growth, and that helped contributed to less crowded housing, maybe the increased awareness and education, improving working conditions and better nutrition also contributed to this decline. This achievement in public health is also true in other parts of the world. As shown here in the figure, shows the trend in cumulative cause of death ratios in both sexes in UK here and Japan on the right side of the slide. So as we can see, infectious disease were declining tremendously. And on the other hand, heart diseases and cancer or diseases of the affluent were increasing at a very rapid rate. What is worth noticing is the speed of transition in Japan after the World War due to the commitment and establishment of public health centers, sanitary improvement and vaccination, so on and so forth, have led to this rapid transition, much more than the UK, if you can see here. So as a result, by mid-1960s, experts are now very confident and optimistic that we have conquered the microbes. One example is the statement made by the 10th Surgeon General of the United States, William Stewart, in 1967, stated in the 65th annual meeting of the Association of State and Territorial Health Officers in 1967. That it is now the time has come to close the book on infectious diseases. We have basically wiped out infection in the United States. As we can see from the previous slide, that mortality rates due to infections are declining, are decreasing very rapidly due to achievements in vaccination, sanitation, and so on and so forth. So at that time, his statement may be very logical and in fact very appropriate during that time.